Hi, this is Stover, the barbecue hunk. You're listening to the BBQ Central Show. Have a hunky day.
Start the game! Let's go!
We'll do it live. Okay. Well, do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike the match, and... Oh, should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
Hey, good afternoon, and welcome to a special live edition of the BBQ Central Show. It is one that we have been promoting for any number of weeks, so we're anxious to get at it. Today, we will be announcing the 2020 BBQ Hall of Fame class. Last night, if you tuned into the show, you know that the embedded correspondents took a run at it. I'll get into that here in just a second. If you want to jump in on the afternoon's events, more than happy to have you. 216-220-0966. You can also email the show. Well, hey, let's not race out of it just yet. Let's wait a second. That's how you know that this wasn't taped, because, you know, I would have edited that out. So it's live, 3 p.m. Eastern, right here. 2 p.m. Central. Make your time zone adjustments as necessary after that. Could be as early as noon if you're on the West Coast. And even earlier than that if you're in Hawaii. We have some listeners that are actually in Hawaii, believe it or not. So very excited to have everybody coming in. We'll have Emily Park coming up in just a few minutes. She's the manager over at the World Series of Barbecue. And as I had mentioned, we'll be making the exclusive announcement for the 2020 Barbecue Hall of Fame class right here. Before we get Emily up, in case you missed the live show last night, important that you go back and subscribe to the podcast, of course. But Ted Conrad, the co-founder of Fireboard Labs, which is the company that makes the extremely popular Fireboard remote thermometer package, announced not one and no less than 3 new products on the show last night. They're going to be selling them. They're on pre-order now, selling June 8th. So if you're a fan of the original Fireboard, then Fireboard 2, Fireboard 2 Drive will certainly be products that will perk your interest. Also, Derek Riches joined me in the first hour, and he made a plea to all of the companies that are making steel bristle grill cleaning brushes to stop it already. Enough is enough when it comes to the steel bristles. And to his point, it's not that they're falling out of the head, it's they're snapping off in half and laying on the landscape of the grill and being picked up by your meat, whatever it is that you're cooking. And maybe you don't really notice it, or maybe you get lucky and it falls off before you ingest it. But of course, as I talked to him last night, this is the time of the year when you hear the warnings of grilling is not safe. Take these precautions. This is something that could easily be remedied. But there are a number of other factors that are going on, and he talked about those last night. So, again, make sure that you are subscribed to the podcast. In the second hour, which will be released tomorrow, I rejoined my embedded correspondents, and we picked our own Hall of Fame class, who we poured through the list, did a bunch of due diligence, and with our keen sense and finger on the pulse of the live fire industry, came up with a majority rules, 3 nominees, or not nominees, but 3 people that amongst our panel would be the class of 2020. And those were Desiree Robinson, Meathead, and Darren Worth of Iowa Smoky D's. Desiree was unanimous. Darren Worth was unanimous. Meathead had 75% of the vote because it's 4 of us. So I can easily do that math for you. So I'm anxious to see how much we know, or perhaps indeed how much we don't know. as it comes to Hall of Fame stuff. All right, so that's how it sets up. Emily Park on deck, and we will get the 2020 class depending on, how the timing works out. And depending on who gets in, I've put out some liners for immediate feedback. So we'll see how that goes. But let's not wait any longer, shall we? Let's get right to business as we welcome back friend of the show, Emily Park. Hey, Emily.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm fabulous, and we have a big day. It's been building and building ever since we released here on the show the semi-finalist of 9 a couple weeks ago. And 3 weeks later, we are already here where we'll be announcing the 2020 BBQ Hall of Fame class. And I am extremely grateful that once again, for the second year in a row, you have decided to partner with the BBQ Central Show and announce this kind of in conjunction as you are getting ready to release this through all the PR haunts and social media channels and so forth. So what have the last 3 likes or the last 3 weeks been like for you guys over at the Hall of Fame in anxious anticipation for this day?
It's been great over here. I mean, the amount of people who've been engaged in this process and really part of this has been wonderful. Since the list is so broad and kind of like all over the states, there's so many cities that are getting recognized, not just for that person, but really like their contribution to barbecue. So that's been great. I saw that you had some of our committee members on your show, and that was really entertaining to get, their feedback too, and just keep this all going, keep the conversation going. We get to really celebrate it kind of 2 months of the year, and that's like in May, and then it's September. So it's nice to really add a lot of excitement around it. So we appreciate your help on that too.
Now, lest anybody think Adrian and Dr. Barbecue were very firm right up front with saying, hey, I'm not going to give you my people that I would vote. Lest anybody think that Daniel Vaughn actually gave me his. Don't even think twice about that. I mean, he does it because he knew the ribbing that was going to be coming, because he was the one that nicknamed the fact that on this show, when people show up, you have to be courageous and give true answers. So in order to take a little less of a beating, he just threw out 3 names and then quickly emailed me back after the fact and said, I didn't give you the real list, right? And I said, of course I know that, but at least you stood up and pretended to be courageous. If we can't really be courageous, Emily, we can at least pretend to be courageous. So do you have...
Well, today we don't even have to worry about that. We get to just tell you the winners.
That's right.
The best part.
That's right. We are going to go right after it. So is there anything that we need to address prior to releasing names, or are you locked and loaded and ready to go?
We're locked and loaded and ready to go. My question just to you is,
yes.
So we have the new legacy category too.
Yes.
And so we can release those names as well. So you tell us how
Great.
we want to do this. You want legacy first and then the 3 inductees as well, or?
Yeah, let's do legacy first. No doubt about it.
Okay. All right. Well, we will jump right in. So the 2 legacy members. So to define for everyone what this is we have added this category this year, where we are including 2 additional members. So there will be 5 inducted each year, up to 3. Maybe in the future we'll have more. These individuals are now deceased, but have really paved the way for where we all stand today.
Yep.
So these inductees actually have been voted on just by the committee members and are included in this list. So this year we will be including James Lemons of Chicago, Lim's Barbecue,
yes.
for those who don't know it,
yep.
and then Warner Stamey, North Carolina Barbecue.
Yes.
The godfather of Lexington, as many may have known about that. So we're very excited to honor them, as we know that, some of those names get passed every year just because, they're not as famous in our current time. So each year we'll at least honor 2, potentially more. We hope to add more to that category every year.
When you guys are talking about the legacy members or the potential people that would be included on this list, what are you guys taking into account? We've talked many times about how you guys whittle down that original list of names nominated to get through to the semifinal list of 9, which is eventually put out for vote to the Living Hall of Fame members. But what about the legacy category?
It's pretty similar. I mean, I think all the names of the folks who are on this committee, and not only are they just very engaged in barbecue, but they're basically barbecue historians.
Mm-hmm.
So they know the path of how we got here. And that's kind of the goal is, what have these folks, and let me tell you, that list is long of people who should be included in the legacy, and we want to add every year. But, what have they done that's really impacted not only maybe a region, maybe a way we cook now, maybe a full dining style or even cooking style, and really something that they've done that is like their whole life that has completely paved the way for us. I think that is the most important thing. It's something different to be someone who was just ingrained in barbecue in your whole life versus someone who taught a full region how to cook and really changed the course of that. So like if you look at Warner Samey, it's North Carolina, Lexington style barbecue. The whole thing kind of goes back to him.
Yep.
So it was really kind of part of it. And I will say in the best way, this group, the committee members argue it out, but not argue it out in a bad way. It's argued out in a really good way. Everybody bringing how they feel about it. And we make sure that as a group, we can get that list down, even though it's kind of tough.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that goes on through the years and the names that get in, because as you said, there's an extremely long list of names that deserve to get in, and for the folks that have passed away, we want to make sure that we're remembering them properly and making sure that they're getting just due if they are so eligible to get into the Barbecue Hall of Fame, because we want the best. That's what the Hall of Fame is about, right? It's about putting the best of the best in.
Yeah. So we're excited to add that, and we'll see it grow every year. It'll be great.
All right. Well, now we've come to what they call the main event, where we will find the three members making up the class of 2020. Are you ready, Emily?
I am ready. Are you ready?
I couldn't be more ready.
Okay, and everybody out there ready.
Now,
all right. So
let me interrupt. Let me interrupt just for 1 second. I'm sorry. I wanted to put this out here for public consumption. Last night on the show live, I had mentioned this in the open. The embedded correspondents and I, so experts in the industry beyond reproach, of course, put together and voted on who we thought of the 9 might make it. So I wanted to put it out there for anybody that missed the show to see how smart or how dumb we are as the actual results are tallying in. So the embedded correspondents and I came up with this following list: Desiree Robinson, Meathead, and Darren Worth, with a John Marcus coming in just shy in 4th place, or the bridesmaid category, as we call it. So mark those down, and we will now see exactly how smart or how not smart we are. Number 1, coming in no particular order, of course. Who's the first one in?
Well, I'll give you one that you voted already. It was Desiree Robinson.
Wow.
All
right. Desiree Robinson, Cozy Corner Barbecue, of course, and we had talked about her 3 weeks ago. When you think of the regional styles of barbecue, there's Carolina, there's Texas, there's Memphis, there's Kansas City. There's other ones that are on the come as well. But when you especially think of Memphis, I go to 2 different places. In my mind, of course it's pork, but I go to Rendezvous and I go to Cozy Corner Barbecue. These are the staple locations of what Memphis-style barbecue is. And, oh, by the way, Desiree Robinson has been doing this for decades and decades, a family business. And one of the staples of the menu is something a little outside of the traditional barbecue box with that Cornish hen. So I'm absolutely ecstatic. She was a unanimous decision last night amongst our panel. So glad to see that she is in this year in the 2020 Hall of Fame.
Yes. All right.
Now, number 2, here we go. Drum roll. The second name in the 2020 Barbecue Hall of Fame.
Oklahoma Joe Don Davidson.
All right. Oklahoma Joe is in. Wonderful.
Yes.
Oklahoma Joe. For the folks that aren't familiar with Oklahoma Joe, do you want to give us a quick run back on him?
Absolutely. He's famous for a lot of things. I would say, notably, the Oklahoma Joe Smoker. Yep. And then also the Oklahoma Joe's restaurant with other inductee, Jeff Staney, which was here in Kansas City. They split off and kind of started doing their own thing years back, but there's still some of his Oklahoma Joe's restaurants, but they're in Oklahoma now. That's just 2 of his. I mean, he is dedicated his life to educating barbecue as well as competition barbecue. So I would say every asset of his life has some sort of barbecue reference to it. Let it be making a smoker, or being in competitions, or, sharing his knowledge with others. So we're excited to have him in.
All right. So Oklahoma Joe is in. By the way, for anybody that would like a little bit more background on him, if you go back and listen to 2 weeks ago, I had Ray Lampe and Adrian Miller and Daniel Vaughn on. Just search through the archives. Ray does an extremely great job of explaining who Oklahoma Joe is and how he was a rock star back in the day. He did a whole kind of thumbnail biography of him that's definitely worth the listen to go back to if you're not familiar with him. But everybody knows Oklahoma Joe smokers if you're in this game, whether you're just getting in 2 weeks ago or if you've been in it for decades like myself and a lot of these other folks. So that's the second one. So we have Desiree Robinson in. Oklahoma Joe is in as well. And here is number 3, rounding out the class of 2020.
Aaron Franklin.
Wow-wee! Aaron Franklin. All right, so as we had mentioned in our reveal of the 9 semifinalists, a third of the list was on a second year of the semifinalists. There was Desiree, who was in. Aaron Franklin, who was in Meathead, was also a returner as well. He comes up short again this year. Aaron Franklin is in. What, in your estimation, and we got quite a talk up from Daniel Vaughn when he was on the following week about the contributions that Aaron Franklin is, but how do you feel he is bringing Hall of Fameness to the table here?
Well, I think I have to say, I think we all agree that he is the name right now in barbecue. When you think of barbecue, I think anyone, if they're enjoying this as sport or just know barbecue, they know Aaron Franklin. He is quite famous and really, which is great for our Hall of Fame. I think he is definitely a celebrity in his own, but I think the way he did it is what's so interesting, because it's not because he's out there showing what he's done to prove it, but more showing what he's done to share it and show everyone else that, there's a different style to barbecue than maybe you're used to. And he's really been pushing that, like, Central Texas style barbecue, which I think you see now everywhere. You kind of see that, I'd like to call it craft barbecue a little bit more, and you see it popping up in all cities across the United States and beyond that. So, I think that he's been sharing his information for many, many years with his different shows and cookbooks, and he hasn't stopped. So I think it's a great honor to have him part of this. We're really excited. I think it's going to be great.
All right, so let's get a little bit more info on. So we have the class announced. I'm sure everybody is rifling it off, claiming that they are the first to announce this. But little do they know that we did it first, Emily. Of course, exclusively here on the BBQ Central Show. Let it be known. Let it be written. The events that are going to be taking place. Give us the dates for the American Royal and when the induction ceremonies will be and all that stuff.
Absolutely. So the American Royal, the date we are working towards right now is that weekend of September 18th, 19th, 20th, with the induction ceremony and Hall of Fame events on Saturday, the 19th. So, I think we're all kind of in this together, that we don't really know what the fall's going to bring. But I will tell you, from the American Royal side, we're really doing everything we can to continue the barbecue. Our event hosts about 500 teams from all over the world. So it may look a little different this year, but the goal is to get everybody back together, get them back together cooking, and then also, celebrate the Hall of Fame while we're there, and all the those who are able to be inducted, as well as those who are already inducted to the Hall of Fame. So as we kind of figure it all out, because, we have to, I would say, start some procedures fresh this year. Yeah. We'll be sharing that on our website and make sure, anyone who would want to come down and be part of this can, as best we can. So that's what we're looking to today. But I know it might shift a little in the next couple weeks and months. All
right. So planning for September 18th through the 20th, with the Hall of Fame stuff taking place the 19th, and your 2020 class to recap. I'm very excited. Desiree Robinson, Cozy Corner Barbecue. Joe John Davidson, Oklahoma Joe, as you've heard, and Aaron Franklin from Franklin's Barbecue, of course, a couple other restaurants and cookbooks and YouTubes and PBS shows and all that stuff. That is your 2020 class. I am with Emily Park, the manager at the World Series of Barbecue. And once again, Emily, as we put it to a close here on this side, really honored that we are able to do this every year. I'm glad we added the semifinalist a handful of weeks ago. That was exciting. Drew a little bit more attention and a little bit more excitement here as we cut through the other 3 weeks before we got to today. And once again, it goes off without a hitch, and I'm certainly grateful for everything that you guys are doing out there and happy that you find the value here in partnering with the show, and we look forward to doing it again next year.
Absolutely. We love to be part of it. So thank you for sharing the good word, and we will keep talking about this every year.
All right. Thanks, Emily.
Thanks so much.
You got it. There she is, Emily Park, the manager over at the World Series of Barbecue. Now, be honest, everybody. Where was your list at? I have a lot of things that you folks said through emails and through some of this other stuff. So be honest. Did everybody get the list? Did you get Desiree Robinson? We did. The embedded correspondents did. We did not get Meathead. We did not get Darren Worth. So Oklahoma Joe and Aaron Franklin are rounding out your other 2/3. So very exciting. And we, believe it or not, this is how you know the show is live on a Wednesday. You wouldn't normally, I'm trying to stall here to see if this actually is going to come to fruition. You know, I had reached out to a number of stars here and said, hey, boy, you hate to make this, right? If you get in, are you free? Can I get a call for a quick reaction? Things of this nature. And let me, I said, hey, what do you think? Well, let's test it out. We go to the hotline and welcome in brand new 2020 Barbecue Hall of Famer, Aaron. Boy, oh boy. This is what you do on live. You blow it out right there. Let's try again. See what happens. It's ringing. We'll see if we can get the reaction. Anyway, what I was saying is you make these touches to folks that you think you have. Of course, I reached out to Cozy Corner and through various social media channels through them and said, hey, I'd love to get a quick visit if we're able to do that.
System.
All right.
7.
Okay. We don't want to give that number out. Let me double check that I'm doing the right number here. Let's see. Go to details. Let's see. Ba ba ba. Dee. Dop. Yeah, that's the right number. Okay. Let's try one more time. We got nothing but time. We got 8 minutes to fill. What do you guys think? Let's see. Ryan G's Barbecue and Stuff. I got 2 out of 3, says the smoke sheet. Ryan G got 1 out of 3. Smokin' Joe's Barbecue Pit says Meathead likes grilled pineapple. That's the reason he won't ever make it in. That's a shame. We got 1 out of 3. It's 33.33% forever in perpetuity. So, hey. Let's try one more time. Go back to I'm controlling my mixer from my phone, if you can believe it. Now, the person I'm trying to get in touch with, of course, was crawling under buildings doing electrical work. So that could be at least 2 of the 3 people in the Barbecue Hall of Fame. Let's see. Let's see if we get it. I always hate to have it ringing on air. It's very unprofessional.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic...
Right. There we go. Anyway, I had reached out to Aaron Franklin, and he said that he was going to be potentially tied up running some electrical, which I understand. You got to be doing your business. But I don't want to spoil it for him on voicemail. He'll just see that a Cleveland number called 4 times in a row in 5 seconds. And there you go. There you go. So, once again, as we are getting ready to wrap it up, your 2020 class for the Barbecue Hall of Fame, Number one, well, no, the first of 3, Desiree Robinson, Cozy Corner Barbecue. Second name, Joe John Davidson, Oklahoma Joe. And rounding out the class, Aaron Franklin, Franklin Barbecue. We thank Emily Park once more from the American Royal and the folks over at the American Royal Association. She's the manager over at the World Series of Barbecue. As we exclusively announce, as we have for now, this is the second year in a row, the Barbecue Hall of Fame class. We got a big show lined up for you this coming Tuesday. So very excited about that. First guests of a new month. We'll bring Malcolm Reed and Sam the Cooking Guy, of course. Second hour of last night's show will be up in the podcast feed tomorrow. And, of course, we have a brand new Best of show coming up in the podcast feed on Friday, brought to you by John Solberg. If you're interested at all in the singing results portion, because there's a week to vote, Jeff Rice is boat racing my ass, and it's not even close. Like, it is not even close. Not even close. Boat race right now. Hopefully the next couple of days help me grind it out, or at least make it respectable, because right now we could call the fight off. But we'll see. We got 6 days. That's not even 24 hours into it. Come on. All right, hope you enjoyed this special live edition of the Barbecue Central Show. We will see you for another live edition on Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. September 11th, 2001. I will never forget. Have a great weekend when you get to it. Good night now.